Zoetis finishing the day lower despite reporting an earnings beat this morning and raising its full-year guidance. Joining us exclusively is Zoetis CEO Kristin Peck here on set. It's great to have you. Welcome back.
It is great to be back, Morgan, especially after such a strong quarter, as you said. We had 9% organic operating growth on the top line, given our diverse and durable portfolio.
What gives you the confidence to raise guidance, despite all the macro uncertainty we've been hearing about from so many different companies across so many different industries?
So as you look at our organic operating growth, we maintained 6 to 8%. What you're talking about is the revenue number overall. And that was really foreign exchange, which, for the first time for me as CEO was actually raising a lot of our numbers. You saw the same thing on our EPS. But really the confidence comes from the fact that animal health is incredibly resilient. And you look at Zoetis with our portfolio. When you have the human-animal bond and you have the demand for protein really driving the overall sector, but with Zoetis, it's our innovation, it's our, what we deliver for our customers. What you saw in the quarter is 14% growth across our 3 largest franchises in parasiticides, dermatology, and OA pain. And that's what gives us the confidence is we see the underlying demand from our customers.
Which is interesting to me because you just touched on it. You got this companion animal portfolio. It's the bigger business, and then you have livestock. If I stick with companion animals, I mean, we're talking about pets,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
What are you seeing in terms of consumer spending trends? And we hear about consumer confidence starting to soften, but we also know pets mean a lot, perhaps more than they ever have, to people.
So the human-animal bond has been incredibly enduring, and you've seen year after year. As we think about Zoetis and our growth and the overall growth in the industry, people want to make sure they take care of their pets, and that is enduring. Obviously, as you saw in the quarters we mentioned, you are seeing, some consumers, who have concerns, maybe moderating their spend on chronic, But as you look at what we printed even in the U.S., where you're seeing some of those concerns, we're still seeing 8% growth in companion animal in the U.S. We had 9% growth overall in companion animal globally. And so that's really that human-animal bond. It's that need to, your dog is itching, your dog is in pain. You want to make sure you don't have fleas or ticks at your house. That's really an enduring trend.
And you mentioned globally, you do have a global footprint. So how are you navigating trade and tariffs?
Sure. I mean, as we talked about on the call, obviously it's an incredibly dynamic space right now in tariffs. I think as the global leader in animal health, we have a very diverse portfolio. We have a very strong supply chain team. We have many levers we can take to try to mitigate some of those risks. We can obviously look at cost management. We can look at procurement. We can obviously look at inventory management, pricing. There's many levers that we can have, but it's a dynamic environment and it's ever changing.
And you do have a U.S. manufacturing footprint. Does that continue to expand depending on what happens here with EOs around pharma production and some of these other trade dynamics?
Yeah, I mean, we were not surprised to see the executive order around pharma production, given all the meetings we've been having in D.C. And I think what really sets Zoetis apart is today, 60% of our global manufacturing is in the United States. Only 50% of our sales are. We manufacture 75% of what we sell in the United States in the United States. And we've been investing in manufacturing in the U.S. for a long time, about $1 billion over the last 5 years. We spent $100 million in 2023 in our Atlanta facility. So I think we're actually what the administration is looking for, a healthcare pharmaceutical company in the United States with manufacturing here, investing here. 99% of our intellectual property sits here in the United States. So not just manufacturing, but R&D. So we've had a lot of people in D.C. listening, whether it's the administration or Congress. I think we have really, really good facts on that.
You've also had a hand in taking care of avian flu and arguably bringing egg prices down, too. The last time we were here on Overtime, you announced the news that you had unveiled a vaccine for birds in the midst of bird flu. How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, look, we live our purpose every day. And as we talked about last time, making sure we have solutions for emerging infectious disease is a key part of how we live that purpose. We're a solutions provider, so we have diagnostics. We talked about the conditional license for avian influenza. We've submitted results for our high-path avian influenza vaccine for dairy cattle as well. So we'll stand ready if the administration and regulators decide they want to move forward with vaccines. But right now, we're really focused on biosecurity.